Our world is much more fragile than it may seem, as shown by dozens, if not hundreds, of films and series. Today I've gathered the best post-apocalyptic series, depicting a world where everything we knew has disappeared. Prepare to journey through desolate wastelands, ruined cities, and witness the indomitable spirit of those who refuse to give up. You're watching Film Mix, so let's get started. The Last of Us. This series is a post-apocalyptic drama based on the popular video game franchise by Sony. The story unfolds in a world devastated by a deadly fungal pandemic. It begins 20 years after most of humanity has been wiped out or turned into zombie-like creatures known as the Infected. The main characters are Joel, a man who lost his daughter at the outbreak's onset, and Ellie, a 14-year-old girl immune to the deadly infection. They must journey across the ruins of the United States to deliver Ellie to a group called the Fireflies, who hope to create a cure from her immunity. Fallout, another series set in a post-apocalyptic world based on the video game series of the same name. The story takes place hundreds of years after a devastating nuclear war has turned Earth into a radioactive wasteland filled with mutants, robots, and warring factions fighting for resources and survival. One of the Vault Dwellers ventures into the open world to search for and rescue her kidnapped father. She faces an unknown and dangerous world full of adventures. Afterward, while waiting for the second season, you can immerse yourself in the gaming world. The Walking Dead, one of the first series to popularize the post-apocalyptic theme, where the action occurs in a world ravaged by an epidemic that turns people into zombies known as walkers. The story centers around a group of survivors led by former Sheriff Rick Grimes. Rick's story begins the day he wakes up from a coma in a hospital to find that the world around him has drastically changed. Civilization has collapsed, cities are empty, and the streets are overrun by the living dead. He sets out to find his family and eventually joins a small group of survivors. Their sole goal now is to survive in a world teeming with zombies and other groups, fighting over the remaining resources. Silo. The events take place in the near future, where humanity is on the brink of extinction due to catastrophic climate change and nuclear war. Earth's remaining population is forced to take shelter in giant underground bunkers, stretching hundreds of meters below the surface, built to protect against radiation and extreme weather conditions. The main characters are a group of people living in one of these bunkers. At first glance, this high-tech shelter provides everything needed for comfortable living: clean air, water, food, and even the illusion of open space. But soon, people start wondering if this is all an elaborate experiment and the broadcasted images of the outside world are complete lies. Sweet Tooth. Set in a world devastated by a viral pandemic that has wiped out most of humanity, children known as hybrids, creatures with both animal and human features, begin to emerge. These unusual children evoke fear and misunderstanding among the surviving humans, who start hunting them, believing them to be the cause of the epidemic. The story revolves around a boy named Gus, who has a distinctive feature: antlers growing from his head. He lives far from the city, deep in the woods with his father, who taught him to survive and fear the world beyond the forest. However, after his father's death, the boy decides to leave everything behind and embark on a journey to find his mother. The 100. After a nuclear catastrophe destroyed civilization on Earth, the remnants of humanity took refuge on an orbiting space station called the Ark. Many years later, resources on the space station are slowly running out, and the leaders decide to send a group of 100 juvenile delinquents to Earth to check if it is possible to live on the planet again. These teenagers, the first humans to set foot on Earth in nearly a century, face unexpected and dangerous conditions: ruined cities, mutated animals, and unknown forces. They soon discover that Earth is not as empty as it seemed. Surviving humans, known as grounders, continue to live on the planet and are hostile to the newcomers. Snowpiercer. The story is set in a harsh world where our planet Earth has plunged into eternal winter following a failed experiment intended to solve the problem of rising temperatures. Now, the only place where humanity can survive is a giant train endlessly moving across the frozen planet. The train Snowpiercer consists of hundreds of cars and has a strict class system. The elite, wealthy and influential people, live in the front cars surrounded by luxury and comfort, while the poor are forced to survive in terrible conditions in the back cars. Colony. The series is set in the near future. As a result of an alien invasion, Earth is divided into enclaves governed by puppet governments under the control of the invaders. The events of the series unfold in Los Angeles, which is surrounded by a giant wall separating it from the rest of the world. The plot follows the story of one family, where a former intelligence agent, his wife, and their children face the choice of whether to collaborate with the new authorities or join the resistance movement. Twisted Metal. This series, based on the cult video game, offers viewers a unique blend of post-apocalyptic madness and dark humor. In a world plunged into chaos after a global collapse, the roads have become arenas for brutal vehicular combat, where survival depends on strength, speed, and cunning. The plot centers around a courier tasked with a dangerous mission to deliver a mysterious package across the ravaged lands. On his journey, he encounters a variety of colorful and insane characters, each with their own goals and ready to do anything to survive. The Last Man on Earth, a comedy series that begins in 2020 when a global viral pandemic wipes out almost all of humanity. The main character, Phil Miller, is the last surviving person on Earth. He travels across the United States in search of other survivors, leaving messages throughout the country in hopes that someone will see them. Phil spends his time enjoying everything he once only dreamed of until he realizes that loneliness is driving him insane. When he loses all hope, he unexpectedly meets another survivor, a woman named Carol. Despite their differences and lack of attraction to each other, they decide to marry to repopulate humanity. The Last Ship. When a global pandemic wipes out 80% of the planet's population, the crew of a lone military destroyer, the USS Nathan James, is tasked with saving humanity from extinction. This is a classic post-apocalyptic survival story, with all the necessary attributes: gangs, military personnel left to fend for themselves, desperate scientists, depraved wealthy people, and mad fanatics. One of the main roles is played by Rona Mitra, the star of another post-apocalyptic film with dark humor, Doomsday. Wayward Pines. This is an adaptation of Blake Crouch's Wayward Pines trilogy, starring Matt Dillon. Secret Service agent Ethan Burke is sent to the small town of Wayward Pines to search for two missing agents. However, on the way, he gets into an accident, and upon waking up in the town's hospital, he realizes that something is wrong. The series is full of mysteries and unexpected plot twists, with the complete picture only becoming clear at the very end. Revolution. 15 years ago, electricity shut down worldwide. Humanity is building a new society without the usual modern technology. The series focuses on Miles Matheson and his daughter Charlie, who hold the key to restoring the power supply. In the second season, the creators began to break their own rules. Individual engines started working, and much more. Many viewers did not like this, so the project was canceled. Z Nation. A zombie virus has infected most of the population of the United States. A small team must transport the only person found to be immune to the disease. However, along the way, the heroes encounter many dangers, and the patient himself does not have a pleasant character. This series started as a cheap copy of The Walking Dead. However, viewers quickly grew to love it for its witty jokes and dynamic action. Unlike the original, zombies here are killed in the most unusual and sophisticated ways, and those who did not get enough of the 5 seasons of this project can watch the prequel, Black Summer, which was released on Netflix. Jericho. The small, quiet town of Jericho suddenly finds itself isolated from the outside world after a nuclear explosion. Now, ordinary people must somehow survive in apocalyptic conditions, and they cannot even find out if anyone else survived or if their town is the last one on Earth. Jericho was almost canceled after the first season due to low ratings, but fans demanded its continuation. However, the project only lasted for another year after that. Into the Badlands. In a world devastated by several wars, ruthless barons rule, each having their own territories. The most dangerous and skilled warrior, Sonny, finds a mysterious teenager. To unravel the boy's past and the origin of his unusual abilities, they must cross the desert of death. The story of this dark and harsh world includes a lot of martial arts reminiscent of 80s and 90s films. The result is an excellent action series spanning 3 seasons. Travelers. After a global catastrophe wipes out most of Earth's population, scientists find a way to travel back in time by taking over the bodies of people just before they're supposed to die. With this ability, the heroes try to correct humanity's mistakes and save the planet from extinction. The concept of travelers is intriguing because the characters from the future must not interfere in the lives of people in the past. The heroes cannot save or kill anyone unless it is part of the protocol. However, of course, at some point, all the rules are broken. The Rain, a Danish series that tells the story of a brother and sister placed in a bunker by their father when it became clear that even a drop of rain brings death. He left, promising to return. But when he does not after 5 years, Simone and Rasmus venture to the surface to find their father and the answers they seek. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching until the end. If you found something to watch, please support the video with a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next videos.